Welcome, everyone, to the How to Get the Most Out of College podcast. There's a lot of talk about where to go to college, but not nearly enough about how to go to college. And it's the everyday decisions that drive your success. I'm your host, Elliot Felix. I've been a consultant to more than 100 colleges and universities, helping them improve their student experience. And I'm the author of How to Get the Most Out of College, where I take what I've learned about how college works and make it work for you. I am so excited today to talk to Ferch Sanchez Lopez, who, in addition to being an awesome student at San Jose State and a transfer student from College of Marin, who was also on Bright Spot's Council of Student Advisors, a group we started a couple years ago to teach design thinking and get advice and be held accountable by a student advisory board so that they could help us and create change on their campuses. And Ferch was also a tremendous resource as I was writing how to get the most out of college and gave me great insights and feedback. And I know we're going to learn a lot today as we dig into the topic of adjusting as a transfer student. And about a third of students transfer at some point in their career. And my guess is, especially with COVID, there's going to be more transferring. It's so important because as you come in as a transfer student, you have these expectations. What's going to be the same? What's going to be different? What do you hold on to? What do you let go of? Ferch is going to walk us through how he's gone through that process. I'm so excited. Ferch, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to just talk about it. And yeah, as you mentioned, I am a transfer student. I transferred from College of Marin a year ago. So this is like my third semester at San Jose State University. And yeah, it definitely has been a learning experience. I have had to kind of like adjust. And I feel like that's just normal. I've learned that this adjustment process is like what everyone goes through, and kind of you have to find your way through it and see what works for you and what doesn't. Something that I have experience on is just expecting that I was gonna be receiving kind of like the same attention in terms of just coming from a community college that was like 10,000 students only, like population, faculty, staff, and basically like everyone have very like individualistic attention towards you. And in the San Jose, I was expecting the same, but it's not. And it makes sense just because it's a bigger college. I feel like there's like hundreds of thousands of students there. So it makes sense that you don't have this kind of like individualistic approach from like faculty and staff. So you kind of have to look for the resources and not just wait for the resources to come to you. So that's one of the things that I have to kind of like learn some way. But
Right.
also, I feel like involvement is there for you to have it. You can get involved whenever you want. There's a lot of different clubs, organizations, but also kind of like physical centers on campus that align to your different kind of like intersectional identities. And that's really, really helpful. They're like just for you. But again, you have to look for them. So I have to kind of like push myself and be able to take those spaces and use them for my benefit, because they were created for students and they're run by students with advisors, but they're for like current students and to be able to help them succeed. And that's like some ways I have been able to just kind of like transition and that have helped me. And some things that are similar is the same educational system. So it like just follows the same classes, how to young classes, like the same like registration and everything. There might be like a different system in terms of like the actual system that they use for you to register, but it's like the same things. And those things I was already kind of like used to it. Like I have to adapt first when I went into College of Marin, just because I come from Mexico. So the educational system, it was different, but in here, I kind of have already like a hang of it, how those classes work, dropping deadlines and everything. And besides that, like the soft skills that I was able to learn in College of Marin, I still apply them in here, just like talking to your professors, being able to just have organizational skills and time management. And overall, all of those like soft skills that are applied to like everywhere, basically, still applied to San Jose State University. And in my experience, that have helped me succeed or keep succeeding in my journey. Yeah.
That's awesome. So it sounds like coming in as a transfer student, you had a lot to work with. You already understood the systems, like the business of being a college student. How do I register for classes and how it all works? So you already knew that and were comfortable with that. And then you already learned to be talking to professors and going to office hours and these softer skills, but you had to find a new way of uncovering resources and getting involved and going to physical centers. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So let's dive into that a little bit. What are some ways that you got involved? What are some resources that you found helpful?
So I pride myself in just being proud of the different identities that compose who I am, what I am. I know that that's difficult for some or like some others to not care more like about it. But I will just say trying to find what makes you you. And I know that there's gonna be something on campus. I've realized that like in every like university, like a 4-year university, there is something for everyone. Like I've talked to my friends and they all find their space, like physical or whatever it's called, like physical, like in friends or something like that. There is a space for you on campus that aligns to what you want to do, who you want to be, or who you want to be with. For me, it was the Chicanx or Latinx Center on campus, the Price Center, the Mesa Engineering program that is just kind of like more focused academically, but I have space to study and also just meet other like engineering friends, you know? So me looking for those opportunities, or like on their website or just like on orientation, I got different kind of like Instagram handles that I was just able to browse through the different accounts to see what events they had in the past. That's what kind of like drew me in. And I feel like once you get involved with something, since everything is like interconnected within because they want to support you to get involved, you start like branching out into more like different organizations. Like through my MEP, that is the Mesa Engineering program, I was able to get connected this semester with the SOLIS, that is the Society of Latino Engineers and Scientists. So that helped me branch out to that. And that club helped me branch out into Maes and the SHIP, that is just like other two societies of like engineers that are Hispanic or Latino. So once you get connected with one, you start learning about many other opportunities that are there for you to get involved.
That's such an interesting point. I love the, the idea that let's capitalize. I'm at a big university. You were saying maybe one of the downsides is it's less personalized and you have to be more proactive, but it sounds like the upside is, I think you said it, there's something for everyone,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool. So it's a matter of finding that and what do you want to do? Who do you want to be? Who do you want to be with? I think three great questions. And the idea that one thing leads you to another is that these things are connected, I think is such great advice. So why do you think this is important? Like why this process of adapting, of adjusting, you have this prior experience, you're having these new experiences. Why is it important for students to go through this adjustment phase?
I would say it's important just because it makes you feel part more of the community at campus. And I have experience of that. Like I decided to get more involved and I started getting more like proactive about it because of my first semester, I was falling into again, like the monotonous, just like schedule or routine of just going to classes and going back home just because I am a commuter. So I do not live on campus. So I can just like leave and come back. And I started doing that. And by the end of the semester, like my first semester, I still have zero connections outside of my classes or like my classmate that I like the only classmate that I connected with. So I was just like, I do not want like my next journey to be like this. So I started researching about it and that's how I started getting more connected. And it completely shifted my perspective of how I felt on campus. I feel like I belong there. I feel like I had kind of like a community and I was able to thrive and not only survive. And it just helped me academically too, just to be able to find like support whenever I needed to, or just point me to the right resources.
That's a really interesting point, the getting involved versus going to classes. And it sounds like in your first semester, you maybe focused a little bit more than you would in hindsight than you would have liked on the academics. And then you got more involved in the second semester, now in your third. Do you feel like getting involved, participating in these clubs, do you feel like that took away from the academics or enhanced it? How did you balance those?
I feel like it didn't take away just because the time that I was not like academically doing something, I was just in my room, just looking for something to do. So I started like invested that time. Like instead of wasting that time, I decided to invest it into like other sphere of my life that is like the social or like
Right.
getting involved and like just doing that. Yeah.
And have you found intersections between the two? In other words, you go to a club and you meet people, and then that helps you work on a class project together, or have there been intersections between like the things you're doing for classes and the people you're meeting in clubs or at these various centers?
Yes, I think in every opportunity that I have had, for example, the mass engineering program, there's like a physical space for us. So I have been able to just take advantage there and I go do my homework there. And I've also meet people while I'm doing my homework with, or you can also just opt to not talk to anybody and just be in the physical space and do your homework. But there's another club that I joined that holds specifically like study sessions. They call it study halls. And these are requirements for you to attend 6 hours of study halls. So it's just like pushing you to do work, but while being like in a community within that club. So I do think, and that happened to a lot of different things. Wherever it's kind of like a physical space, I use it to socialize, but I also use it whenever I need to just finish homework or finish a project. It's also useful to just like meet other people.
Right. So these things are intersecting and overlapping. You're at a community space, but you're using it to do homework. And then maybe you get stuck on a problem and there's somebody you can tap, or maybe they get stuck and you can help them. And
Yeah.
that makes a ton of sense. So what advice do you have for other transfer students to go through this adapting? It sounds like one thing is don't just do academics your first semester, but what other advice would you give an adjusting transfer student?
It would be like the advice of do not be afraid to just reach out for help in the sense that you're not the only one that is transferring to that university. Like there's hundreds of students that are also transferring. Like I was surprising to see like in the events that I attended, the little that I was able to network with, I was just like, oh, you're also a transfer student. Oh, me too. Or, oh, you already transferred like last year. Oh, that's fine. There's a lot of people that are transferring, but you just don't see them, or because it's not like you have a label that says transfer student, you know? So it's just a matter of just knowing that you're not the only one in that position. And a lot of people are in those kind of like situations, and just reach out for help for like others, your classmates, faculty and staff. At the end of the day, the resources that are there are for you and for your use. So it's up to you if you want to take advantage of it or not. Yeah, it do be challenging just going out of your comfort zone, but it's really, really rewarding when you push yourself to do all of this kind of like involvement overall and just learn how to balance school and kind of like outside of school things.
That's awesome. What for you was the hardest adjustment? You mentioned like you had the soft skills, you knew the kind of how college worked. Was it this adjustment from a smaller, more personalized thing to the larger scale? Was that the biggest adjustment, do you think, or was it something else?
No, for me, I think it was more. I'm a person of the people, so I
Yeah.
love being in my community. I found my community in student government when I was a college marine, and I only not have like friends, but I have like my two advisors that became kind of like my mentors.
Yeah. You were
So
the
I was
college president, right?
yes, I was college president,
That's
and then
pretty cool.
thank you, and then transferring, I kind of lost that in the sense that I was not gonna have like those people with me every day. I was the only one in my group of friends, or like the people that I knew that was transferring to San Jose State University. We like all of my friends went to like different universities or different routes. So for me, it was just kind of losing like that community, losing again, quote unquote, because I still
Yeah.
feel in touch with them. But just shifting from having that every day to then coming to San Jose State University and not knowing anyone, I feel like that was really rough for me.
Yeah,
And
that's hard.
yeah, and that's also kind of like what pushed me to be able to get involved when you start meeting new people, to find what is my community at San Jose State University. And I would say that it's not something easy, but it's a process, and I'm still kind of like in the way of building that. I continue to build that. And yeah, it's tough, but it's doable. And yeah, I'm still working on it.
Right. Were there lessons or skills from your time on the council in design thinking or otherwise that you found helpful in your studies or in your new community?
Yes, I
You can
still
say no, by the way.
no, yes, I did. I actually did. I even when I finished the council and I was still part of the student government, I kept using kind of like all the different tools that we got. I forgot what's the name right now, but the one that we use for the notes that everyone was able to collaborate with, that really helped me. Mural, I think it was Mural.
Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah, mural boards, right? Yeah,
Yes. Yeah, that's really helpful. I still use it just for myself whenever I need to just kind of like organize my ideas and stuff like that. And overall, like the techniques, I've used them for projects when I need to. In my first semester at San Jose State University, I took this poli-sci class that we were part of like a country and we were kind of like not fighting, but we were just like in a fictional world, a simulation of other countries. And there was just like this war that went in because of another country declared World War. And so I used Mural to just kind of like organize the ideas and everything of what we wanted to do with like other countries, but also with like my members. So they have been helping a lot. Yeah, I really, really took away a lot and I have used them for many things in my personal, but also like academic life.
that's awesome. Ferch, thank you so much for all your amazing insights and sharing your story about adjusting as a transfer student. And I think there's so much here about how you make connections and how things are connected and figuring out what you want to do and who you want to be and who you want to be with and how academics and involvement are related and reinforcing. I learned so much from this and I'm sure our listeners will as well. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Of course, it was a pleasure. And I hope I was able to help even one person. Just, yeah, that's all fine with me. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thanks everyone for listening. Remember to subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you get your podcasts. And check out elliottfelix.com for all the episodes and the articles I've written, talks I've given, and more information about the book.